welcome to another up close video. Today's one is a really exciting one because we have got a brand new addition to the Nuvo range from Tonic, and they are Nuvo chalk mousses. So if you were watching my videos last week, you will have seen the unboxing video for Tonic Craft Kit number 46, which also had a colour of chalk mousse in as well. So if you've already purchased that, or if there's still any available, I'll leave the link to that down below as well, because you won't be able to buy that colour separately. I'll show you that colour later on in the video, but I just wanted to mention that at the beginning because you might be thinking, oh, I saw a chalk mousse last week. But this is the main first release of them. I presume there will be more eventually, but these are the three colours that are launching. So they are a gorgeous chalk mousse, and they really do have that matte chalky kind of finish to them. Very different to any other chalky or matte finished product that I've personally tried. There might be something else similar on the market, but I've not tried it. But the three colours that we're getting is one really versatile, useful colour called Coconut Sorbet, and being white, you can turn it into any other colour that you want to. Then we also have a beautiful pastel pink, which is called Strawberry Frappe. And then we also have a gorgeous minty tone as well, which is called Mint Mojito. So a really beautiful pastel colour collection. And if you got the Sweet Sorbet colour trend that launched earlier this year, these colours will go absolutely perfectly with that colour trend as well. So if you're looking for something to help you use those products again, you know, give you a little bit more extra ideas and ways you can mix and match stuff, these chalk mousses will really go nicely with that colour trend. And then also launching today are two brand new stencils. I really like these, they're really beautiful stencils. This one is called the Modern Art Deco. I think I've put them in the wrong packaging. This one is called the Simple Heart stencil, and this one is called the Modern Art Deco stencil. I put them in the wrong packages, but this one is really like rainbow kind of looking, but also up this way it kind of looks more underwatery mermaid tail kind of a look as well. So I think this is a nice versatile one. And the heart one is really lovely because the heart's going both directions, so you can use it whichever way up, so you don't have to think about which way up you're putting the stencil on your background before you put your medium through it. It's the heart's going both directions, which is really nice, and they're nicely spaced apart, so you can actually mask off one heart and just use the one heart to do some like extra thick 3D chalk hearts on a project as well, which I'll also show you. So I've got quite a few just experiment pieces to show you, and then I have 4 finished cards, and there will be a sped up video probably tomorrow, but with everything going on in birthday week, they might be a little bit higgledy-piggledy, but there should be a sped up one sometime soon with 3 of the cards that I'll show you later on in the video as well. So let's have a proper look at the chalk mousses. So you might notice they are in an octagonal pot. So Tonic and Nuvo are really good at giving you like visual differences between the different types of products, so you don't have to always read the lid of it. You can visually just tell which one's what. And originally they had embellishment mousse, which was a circular pot with a white lid. Then they brought out expanding mousse, which was a circular pot with a grey lid. Then they brought out crackle mousse, which was an octagonal pot but it had a white lid. And now they have chalk mousse, which has an octagonal pot but it has a grey lid. So there are 4 different types now, and they're really easy to tell apart from whether they have the octagonal or circular base to them and whether they have a white or a grey lid. And with the chalk mousses, it's octagonal base and a grey lid, so really easy to identify those ones. And they are all the same amount as well, so a normal embellishment mousse has the same amount as one that's in an octagonal pot as well. The shape doesn't make a difference to how much you're getting. And then let's have a look at the consistency of the chalk mousses as well. I think it's really a different kind of consistency. I was trying to explain it in my Tonic Craft Kit video. It's kind of a chalkier feeling mousse, but not the fact that it feels like it's drying out. It feels like it's got like some kind of chalky something mixed in with it. That's the kind of consistency that it feels like. I'm not very good at explaining, but it's that kind of, it feels firmer than the normal embellishment mousse, as if it's had like a chalky powdery something mixed into it. So but it's a really lovely consistency as well. Some matte products are more like a wobbly jelly kind of consistency, but this is a really nice thick kind of product, so it's great for using thick through your stencils, and because it is that slightly thicker kind of consistency, it works really great for mixing with other products to change the colour of it. And I've actually been mixing it with, in my Tonic craft kit video last week, you will have seen I was mixing it with the ink pad that came in the kit, so you can use your Nuvo hybrid ink pads to add a bit of colour to them as well, whether that is changing, like deepening the colour of one of the other mousses, or whether it is completely adding colour to a mousse like the white one. And then also you can actually use your Aqua flows to add colour to this as well, which is really great because the Aqua flows have been on offer recently as well. So if you have been stocking up on getting any colours that you're running out of, Aqua flows are really great for colouring these. And a lot of the Aqua flows have a very intense colour to them, so you don't need too many drops of the colour, which is great because it means it doesn't mess with the consistency of the mousse too much, which is brilliant. And so you have the gorgeous pink, which I did actually change the colour of using a couple of the Aqua flows. I was using Hawaiian Orchid and also Wild Phlox to kind of deepen this pink tone of this, but you could also turn this one purple, you could turn this one red as well. Anything that is close to pink on the colour wheel should, I know pink isn't actually on the colour wheel, but close to a pinky reddy kind of colour on the colour wheel, you should be able to change this one's colour into. This one I was actually altering the colour with the Empress Teal, that made a really nice darker tone of this colour, but you could get away with putting one of like the Indigo Batik or something, a really deep navy blue kind of colour into this one as well, and I reckon that would work at changing the colour of it. Also green, you could put green into this and it would give you a greeny colour of a mousse. And then the white one, obviously if you just bought the white one, you could use any of your Aqua flows to turn this into a different colour, but because we have pink and green, if you bought all of them, you could then use the white one to turn it into yellow and orange, maybe even a grey, or maybe not black. I'm not sure if black would work because you might need too much liquid to turn it black. If you had like a really pigmented Indian ink black ink, you know, like in the eyedroppers, that might work for turning this black, but I think you might end up with just a really deep grey kind of colour. Or you could also use browns into this one as well. You'd get some nice brown tones if you wanted a sort of maybe a barky texture. You could like scrape a brown version on and use something to like a palette knife to draw different lines into it, and it would dry with that texture like a bark sort of finish. Yeah, loads of different ways that you can add colour to these to change the colour or enhance the colour as well. So I think that's why they've given us beautiful pastel tones, because it kind of makes it a little bit more versatile to be able to change the colour. But also having the white one is brilliant, because even if you just want to try this mousse out, get the white one, because you can completely change the colour of it and turn it into whatever colour you want to as well. And if you saw my colour trend video, that was the week before last, I think, I was also experimenting with mixing like Glacier Paste and sparkle sprays and all sorts into your mousses as well, so you could give that a go with this. I don't 100% know if like sparkle or mica would still show up with the matte, because the matte might kind of coat it, but you could use your sparkle sprays to add colour to this, whether the sparkle stays or not. It would be another way of adding colour to it if you didn't have Aqua flows or something else that you could tint the colour with as well. And even your glitter markers you could use in a similar way to a sparkle spray to change the colour of the mousse as well. But again, I'm not 100% sure if the sparkle will stay, so you'll have to give that an experiment and let me know if the sparkle still stays. So that is like looking at the actual mousses. Then application wise, you can definitely use them really nice and thickly through a stencil, and they do stay with that beautiful thick raised dimension. You can also water them down, paint with them, splat with them, do your smushy like wrinkle free kind of techniques where you keep dipping the card into it, drying it, dipping it in and getting all that smushy kind of design from it. You can use them like the thickly through a stencil, thickly just onto card. You can use them thinly through a stencil. I was actually using one of the applicator tools with the foam on. However, do remember to wash your foam out, because I didn't, and that's how the foam now looks. It's like completely compressed and squished down. So Definitely remember to wash your foam out after you finish using it, but this is a great way of getting a thin application through the stencil as well. So I will show you all of those different examples that I was just talking about as well. So this is thinly through a stencil, and this is using the actual mint mojito, and then this was mint mojito with the Empress teal mixed into it. You can see the actual chalk mousse is very pale in colour. It's a very subtle colour, which is why it works so brilliantly for tinting and adding a different colour too, because you can slightly deepen that colour. For all of these samples and for the cards that I made, I did only deepen or change the colour with a darker version of the colour, just because if they're like launching on the website, I didn't want you to think that there was a colour that doesn't exist or something. But you definitely can change the white one into whatever colour tone you want as well. Plus I also love the colours that they came out in, so I was just happy to use them. Then I didn't put these in a very good order, but also thinly through a stencil I used the white, and we can do some cool techniques with this, so I'll show you that later as well. And then more thickly through a stencil, I've done the white thickly through a stencil. So this kind of gives the look of a texture paste or something, but it has that really lovely chalky finish, which we can do a little bit of experimenting with and see what kind of Nuvo products we can use over the top of this. So I'll come back to these two to show you some bits and pieces with them, which will be a nice little experiment. You can also use this chalk mousse onto darker colours of cardstock, which I thought was really lovely to know. So these are both the coloured versions of the mousse, I think. Or maybe they weren't actually. No, maybe they were just the actual colour. Yeah, but that is how well the pink shows up on a really navy blue cardstock, and that's how well the gorgeous mint mojito shows up on the navy blue cardstock. This is the white thickly through a stencil, and then this is the white thinly through a stencil, so you can get lots of different effects with this. Obviously, I know your other embellishment mousses you can use onto darker cardstock, and because they're metallic and stuff, you can get that thick effect and it shows up on the dark. But I just wanted to experiment with the chalk mousses to see how well they showed up. Because they were such a light colour, I wasn't sure how well they would hold up over the top of a darker colour cardstock. But you can see, even thinly through a stencil applied with that sponge, it still gives a really cool look. And obviously you can like splatter your mousse onto dark colours. So if you're doing a galaxy background and you don't have any like white gouache or acrylic paint or something to do that white splattering, you could water down the white chalk mousse and do your splattering of stars that way as well, or even have pink or mint coloured stars in the galaxy too. So you can definitely use them on dark cardstock as well. Then another fun way of applying them to the cardstock was using a brayer, and I did a couple of backgrounds with this. It very much reminds me of ice cream. So if you had that craft kit that launched with the Dream in Colour trend, which I was talking about earlier, but it was the kit that had the ice lollies and stuff in, this would be a fantastic product to go with those ice lolly stamps and dies, because this just really reminds me of an ice lolly, those kind of effects, or almost a variation on Neapolitan ice cream. It could be like vanilla, mint and strawberry. So another lovely kind of technique. This one was applying with a brayer just one layer of the product, and then this one was doing the single layer and then coming back with a bit more over the top. And these are the actual colours of the mousse as well. I didn't colour tint these ones, but it gives a really different texture. This one, my brayer had a little bit of dust on it, but this one gives them more like true representation without little bits of dust stuck in it. But it gives a really lovely texture, and it feels really matte and chalky. I mean, if I just rub my finger on the back of the card, it sounds like this, and then on the top of the texture you can hear it gives that kind of chalky effect. So that is brayering the mousse on. Then also applying it thickly. This was just the pink. I think it's a mix of the actual pink and the pink that I changed the colour of as well, and that's just applying it with your palette knife after you've finished. I had lots left, so I was just like doing that to get it on there, and you can hear how lovely and textured that feels as well. And this is what I was saying about if you wanted to create, if you change the colour of it to a brown kind of colour and you wanted to create like a barky texture, you could have then like carved into it whilst it was wet with your palette knife, and then it would have dried with that texture in there as well. And then this one was leftovers that I had coloured with the Empress Teal and the Hawaiian Orchid, and then they mixed to create a beautiful purple in the centre, and this is putting it on quite thickly so you can really see that texture that's in there. It had actually started to dry while I was applying it, which is why it's kind of like really thick and chunky, because I'd gone off to wash my stencils and stuff, so it started to dry a little bit. But I do really like that look, and that is just the perfect starting point for a card. Whether you then just put like a white die cut sentiment over the top of that, or a heart or a flower or something, it would just make a lovely, quick and simple, beautiful card, and it's just using up the leftovers that you might have wasted otherwise. Then this one was me trying to get as much of the product out of this sponge as possible, so I was using these are all of the colour tinted versions, so that's why they look slightly stronger colour than the actual mousse. So this again was the Hawaiian Orchid and the Empress Teal, because I was playing with those. I did this before I did that last one I just showed you, and I did the pink circles, and then I did the teal circles, and then I was noticing as the kind of colours overlapped they made a beautiful purple, so I mixed the two together and did the purple sort of swirly dots as well. And then I also watered some down and splattered it in the background. So then again, this could easily be cut into two and create two lovely cards with a simple sentiment or a flower or something on top of them as well. So that's, yeah, that's all of my like uses of just sort of experiments. And then these are the ones that I turned into actual cards. So this first one isn't in the video, but this was, you know, my squishing technique, which I always love to do. This was a version of that, but using the mousses, and this was just the mousses as they are. This isn't colour tinted, this is how the colours are, and this was just blobbing on areas of white and the gorgeous mint mojito, and then I took another piece of cardstock, squished it on, moved it around a bit like this and pulled it off, and that is the cool subtle texture that you get. And I love the matte finish because I'm always doing this with really glossy products like Nuvo drops or Dream drops, or with mousses and Glacier Paste and stuff that have got a metallic finish to them, or the mica in them. So it's really nice to have a matte kind of version of it. And this is where I was saying about masking off one of those hearts from the stencil. So I just put post-it notes around one heart, and then I just moved it to different areas, doing thinly through the stencil and then thickly through the stencil, just to give a few extra bits of interest to this background as well. This was a small little sentiment die that came out with one of the Staggered Stage die sets, and then I just used some Calming Aqua Nuvo drops on top of it, and the Calming Aqua colour goes really nicely with that mint mojito. So that is just an extra card that I did. And then these final three are the ones that I did within my sped up video that you should see very soon. So this was using the gorgeous modern deco, what was it called? Modern Art Deco stencil, and I used it up the other way to give it a different kind of a look. I just used, again, another one of those sentiments that came out with one of the Staggered Stage releases. I used a really old dandelion die and just cut it from vellum just to give something extra in the background, because I really like the look of that sort of vellum look. And then to colour this was like the actual colour, and then this was with Empress Teal like I was talking about before, and you just kind of ombre it up. I used the original colour first and then did the Empress Teal and dragged it down into the original colour. And then for the drops on this, I wanted like a neutral tone, so I went for the oyster grey. Yes, oyster grey kind of colour, because on this card I used Pumice Stone Distress Oxide, and oyster grey goes really nicely with that kind of colour, and I wanted all the cards to sort of match between each other. But I did a video the other day, now I can't remember which video I mentioned that in. I think it was the kit video maybe, and I said in that one that there was a sample that I did where I did my drops directly onto the card, and I wanted to explain to you this is why I usually pre-make my drops, because if you look here, I did this drop directly onto that texture, and look at the weird shape that it's gone. And here, and here. This one, it hasn't like spread off of the mousse, and here it's gone a bit of a weird shape to sort of move along with the mousse, and then over here it's gone a weird shape and it's picked up some of the Empress Teal from the mousse because I'd coloured it with that colour. So that is why I like to pre-make my Nuvo drops, because of reasons like this. I often like to put them over the top of something textured or going across two different die cuts or something, and having that uneven texture does make them dry in a weird shape. Not that it really matters, but if you do want those perfect circles, then it's definitely best to pre-make them. So yeah, I just thought I'd mention that because I've now found the card that I was talking about in that other video. So that is that first card. Then I did a similar effect but using the heart stencil, and this is the actual pink colour, which is called the Strawberry Frappe, and then I mixed it with the Hawaiian Orchid, and I might have used a little bit of the Wild Phlox in this one as well, just to give an ombre kind of effect. And again, it doesn't matter which way up you use this background because the hearts go in both directions, which is really nice. This little octagon sentiment is actually from the silhouette bow box, which came out not that long ago on Create and Craft, but it's got these beautiful little elements that like recess back into the box, and I just love the the octagon shape of them. I just really love that, and it works so perfectly just on a card as well. And then I also used that same dandelion kind of a die in the background as well, because I just really love that look. Then a few of the Oyster Grey Nuvo drops, and I splattered on a little bit of the pumice stone watered down as well, because I'd used it in the background here. I think adding that like neutral tone really goes nicely with this, and if you don't have an ink like that, you could easily have taken the white mousse and used one of your Aqua flows to create a neutral kind of colour like that, and coloured your cardstock in the background and splattered it on as well if you wanted to recreate something similar but you don't have pumice stone, distress ink or distress oxide. So that's another way of doing it. And then this one is the one where I did the white thinly through the stencil, but then I ink blended over the top of it with that pumice stone, and it's almost given like an embossed resist kind of look. So that's what I want to experiment and show you just in a minute, and we'll test some different Nuvo products on it to see what happens as well. And then this is one of those oval sentiments. I think it was an extra one that came out with one of the frame sets, but I'll make sure to link all of the mousses, the stencils and any of the dies that I've used in the description below the video and on my blog as well, and they will be affiliate links too. But yeah, it's just a really like simple kind of card, just using that beautiful stenciled background, and not using much mousse at all because I've used it thinly through the stencil, but you could equally have used it thickly as well, and then just layering up some cardstock. And I just took a couple of the Craft Perfect textured cards. This one is the Ocean, I think, and this one is the Blossom Pink, and they go really nicely with the pink and the turquoise of the two mousses as well. So that is the third card, and those will be in my sped up video. So I'm just going to get some Nuvo products together, and I'll be back in a second to show you some other ways that this resist technique could work, but I haven't tried it yet, so we'll experiment together. Okay, so I've got a few different Nuvo products. We've got a mica mist, a Glacier Paste, a glossy Nuvo drop, a sparkle spray, and also a normal metallic-y embellishment mousse as well. And I've kept two similar colours so that I can then use these backgrounds afterwards, and I haven't done a mishmash of weird stuff on them. But we can just try. I'm just interested to see if the colour like completely sticks to the white on here, because this was with the pumice stone distress oxide, so I know distress oxides and distress inks will work nicely, but I did actually have to buff the stenciling a little bit just to get the ink off so that it wasn't sitting on top. So I'm curious to see how this is kind of going to work, and I am just going to use my finger to apply the different products as well, but obviously at home you could use a blending tool or a piece of sponge. I just don't really want to get loads of things dirty just for the sake of a tiny little demo. But let's do, so this is the thinly through the stencil, and then this is the thickly through the stencil. So we'll give these two a try on the thickly, and then those three a try on the thinly maybe. Yeah, we'll just see how it works. So I've got some triple berry embellishment mousse, and I'll just get a little bit of this out, and then we can see what this is gonna be like. So we could either, I guess, try and highlight the actual mousse, but then you might as well have just used this mousse through a stencil, so I guess that's not really a great technique, but you could do that if you wanted to. You could just like highlight the raised areas if you're a bit more careful, or the actual technique I was thinking of would be make it a little bit wetter and get the colour to kind of spread out everywhere, and then hopefully the white would still stay white as well. But obviously you could do this with a paintbrush as well. I'm just being lazy. So we can just sort of spread some of this over the top of this, and then get a piece of kitchen roll and dab some of it off of like the raised areas. So I think that would kind of work as a way of adding colour to it. Maybe it's a little bit tricky to kind of get the colour off of the stenciling, and I think it is gonna dry on top of there, so a different kind of technique I guess would be to let it dry on top, but then again you might as well just use this mousse if you wanted that kind of a look rather than using the chalk mousse. But that could be a potential way of adding colour to the background. Not as nice looking as just ink blending, but could be another way of doing it. I'm just doing these to sort of show you some different ideas in case one of them works. Then we've got a sparkle spray which is called Strawberry Ice, so we need to shake that. And sparkle sprays are very intense, like they're really packed full of colour and glitter, so I do usually prefer to use them with a bit of water, so I probably will spray this with some water as well. And I might just drop it so I don't make so much of a mess on my desk. So if I just spray that area with water and just take the uptake tube and drop some of this colour in. Oh wow, look at that. That looks really cool. That's just a cool thing to watch. But I'm wondering if this will colour the mousse. Obviously I think if you mix this with the mousse you could get a really nice colour that way, but I'm just wondering if you're going to be able to wipe it off and get the white of the mousse back again. No, I think it is going to be definitely quite staining because it's such a strong colour, but that does just give a cool effect. So maybe not so much the resist effect, but definitely gives a nice kind of effect to the background of a card, which is really nice. So I could definitely still use that to make a card with, so that's good. But they're not so much resisty kind of products, if you know what I mean. Ink is probably going to be your best bet if you want the patterning to come out white still, but this is just a lovely way of adding colour to that textured design. So that's those two. That's normal embellishment mousse and a sparkle spray. And then with this one, I've just got a little bit more mess over here that I need to clear up. With this one, we will try these sort of aqua-y kind of colours. So some beautiful tones here. Let's go with the Glacier Paste first, because that's probably going to be the simplest one to try. Oh, this is the Sprite Glacier Paste. I think this was in the original release of them. Just put a little bit of that out. Might as well use what's on the palette knife as well. So I think that is mostly just going to add over the top actually, but that looks really nice. I don't know if you can see it on the camera. It is kind of picking up that subtle detail and catching on those higher areas. And let's see what happens if we kind of buff over the top, see if it takes it off the mousse at all. Right, I think it does kind of remove it off the mousse a little bit. That is quite a nice subtle effect. If you wanted a really like icy kind of look for the background of a Christmas card or something, that would be a really cool effect. So that is using Glacier Paste as a kind of resisty thing, but it doesn't really resist that well. Then this is Calming Aqua Nuvo drop, so it's just a gloss Nuvo drop. It just goes nicely with the colours. And we can see how a Nuvo drop is going to work. Yeah, I had a feeling it would just kind of like obliterate it, but it's worth trying, isn't it? I mean, it gives it a glossy effect, but then it's kind of redundant using a chalk mousse, but there isn't a gloss mousse, so I guess that would give a different kind of a look. Maybe it would work better on that more 3D stenciled effect rather than on this kind of thing. Let's wipe over that with a baby wipe and see if that will help bring back any of the details. Maybe using a stronger colour of drop would be good, but I think maybe it, yeah, No, I think drops are not really the way to go to colour it, but it was worth an experiment. And then mica mist as well is obviously going to add a lot of nice colour, but we'll see if it kind of repels off of the actual mousse as well. So I'll spray this one and hope that I don't make too much of a mess. Oh. Okay, wipe the nozzle. And you need to clean the nozzle as well. You just take the lid off and put the uptake... Oh, that's coming apart differently. Take the lid off, put the uptake tube into some clean water and then keep spraying the sprayer until just clean water comes out, and that will clean that out for you. And then with this, I think I can move it around a little bit. And maybe if we dab it with the kitchen roll... Yeah, I think this is going to kind of stick to the mousse as well, but it's a way of colouring it if you wanted to. But again, if you were doing something like this, you could just have used, what colour is it called? Sea Spray Green Nuvo Embellishment Mousse is a similar colour to that mica spray, but it does look nice though. It is catching on the details a little bit. So definitely, if you want to do the embossed resist kind of look, definitely just ink blending over it is the best way. But I did just want to experiment and see if there were any other Nuvo products that would work really nicely for it. I mean, I think maybe the sparkle spray is my favourite out of all of them that we've tried. I think the sparkle spray is my favourite, definitely, but or the Glacier Paste, but maybe using a deeper colour would work better. Although I quite like Glacier Paste over the top of mica mist, that looks good. Bring that colour down a bit more, just to make this an actual usable background. I mean, just having fun and experimenting like this gives you lots of backgrounds that you can then use to do quick thank you cards or Christmas cards and all sorts as well. And I often like fading the colour down towards the bottom of the card as well, so that just gives a nice look too. But I do think that Glacier Paste looks really good, and we can buff that into the card a little bit and see if we can get it to kind of pick up that slightly raised detail from this sort of effect as well. Yeah, I think I like that. It's very subtle, the pattern, and it's definitely not doing the resist effect. But if you want that resist look, definitely ink blending is the way to go, or some kind of spray on top of it. Let's just see actually if we can use a baby wipe to take any of that sparkle spray off. No, I think sparkle spray is such a pigmented product. If you get the instant concentration on it, it's definitely going to colour it. But I really like that look actually. I think I might spray with water the bottom of this piece and do some more of that sparkle spray because I really like that look. And that will then be an instant background for another card. And actually having it over the top of that mousse, it might be a slightly different colour as well, which is really nice. So then we can just get a clean bit of kitchen roll and dab that around. There we go. That makes that a usable background for a card as well. So we've got two usable backgrounds out of it, but maybe only the sparkle spray is a good use for the using over the top of the white chalk mousse through the stencil, thinly or thickly. But yeah, I just thought we'd have a little experiment. So I'll clean this up and I'll be back in a second. So I did say that I would show you the exclusive colour from Craft Kit number 46 as well. If it hasn't sold out, it should still be available to buy, so I will make sure that's linked below the video. I can't remember if I said that earlier in the video, but anything I mention will be linked below the video or on my blog as well, in case you're interested. And there will be affiliate links too. So this is the beautiful Iced Plum colour that came with kit number 46 that you can still get hold of. And it's a really gorgeous lavendery kind of colour, really pale purple tone, which again can be coloured really easily with your Aquaflows or your ink pads as well, can give nice colour to it, or your sparkle sprays too, which I could actually show you. So let me just show you all these colours. So this is the exclusive colour to kit number 46. So the only way of getting that is to buy kit number 46, and that is the iced plum. And then the three that I've been showing you, I've already shown you inside the white one, but I just thought I haven't shown you inside the gorgeous strawberry frappe. You can see I love this colour, I've used quite a lot of it, but really, really beautiful colour, lovely consistency of the mousse as well, so really, really nice. And then inside the mint mojito as well. Let's look at this one. Again, you can tell I really like this colour because I've used a lot of it, but really, really beautiful as well. That really looks like mint chocolate chip ice cream without the chocolate chips in. But really, really pretty. So then let's just give this a go with the sparkle spray. So I'll just mix it onto my glass cutting mat. I'll go with the pink. Should I go with the pink? Just to show you how you can like tint it if you get the coloured ones. So I'll just do a little bit, so I'm not going to waste too much of my gorgeous mousses. But so that's taking chalk mousse and putting a little bit of sparkle spray. So I'm using the strawberry frappe, and I'm going to put the strawberry ice sparkle spray in there. And you don't want to put too much. I probably wouldn't recommend pouring because you might get too much out, but if we just do a few little splashes into there, I reckon that is going to alter the colour quite dramatically. I probably should have moved that closer to the middle. Yeah, you can see how such a strong colour really alters it with hardly anything. And that is turning it very like a reddy pink. Look how different that is already, just with a few little drops of that colour. So you can definitely use your sparkle sprays to colour your mousses as well if you don't have Aqua flows. Or if you have any of the kits and you have like the samples that have come in them, like the little tiny Glacier Pastes or sparkle sprays or anything, you could definitely give that a play and try and colour things. And then if I put this, oh, you can actually see the sparkle on my desk there. Okay, I've got just a little piece of textured white card. So if we spread that onto there, so even spreading it onto a textured cardstock, it gives that texture, which is really nice. And if you want a smoother finish, you might want to use like a stencil scraper or something. I have got one, which I always forget to use. Oh, it's there. So you can actually use like an actual stencil scraper like this to try and get a smoother finish if you wanted a smoother finish. Or you can do what I was saying before, and you can actually like draw through it with your palette knife to give cool effects, whether it's trying to recreate a bark kind of look or whether it's just doing like CRaFTi kind of looks in your artwork as well. You can do really cool different things with that to give a distressed kind of look or to give just a cool texture really. So you can definitely do that kind of thing. And then I will come back and show you that dry in a second to see if we can see any sparkle. So I'll be back in a second for you. So this is this Glacier Paste one completely dry, and you can see that the white from the rainbow pattern has kind of completely disappeared, but you can see that subtle texture underneath it, so it gives a different look for, you know, a subtle kind of a background. I think an icy Christmassy card would look really good on this. You know those ice skate dies that came out last Christmas? You had the ice skates that were in like a Christmas icons die set, and then there was also like the 5x7 frame one with the ice skates dangling down. This kind of a background I think would look really nice for something like that. And then this is this one dry, which was the mousse and the sparkle spray, and then we added the sparkle spray kind of everywhere. I do really like that look. I mean, you don't necessarily have to have used the chalk mousse to have achieved this look, but I think it gives a cool effect. And you can see, so this is a sparkle spray. That is how sparkly a sparkle spray is supposed to be. But this is the one where we mix the sparkle spray with the mousse. And I had a feeling this would happen. And you can see it has obliterated all the sparkle. There's maybe like tiny little speckles of sparkle in there, but it has obliterated it, because any kind of matte product like a gouache or a matte acrylic paint or these matte mousses, they do kind of like coat particles in their matte finish, so if you do mix anything sparkly in with them, it tends to sort of disappear. But saying that, it did colour it for us, so if you only had a few sparkle sprays and you didn't have aqua flows or ink pads or re-inkers or anything else that you could colour your mousse with, you can still colour it with a sparkle spray, you just won't get the sparkle anymore. So or if you had a sample one from a kit or something and you didn't particularly like it as a sparkle spray, you could use the colour of it to colour the mousse as well. So just an extra little idea. So I'll pass you back on to the rest of the video. So I hope you enjoyed this up-close video looking at the brand new Nuvo chalk mousses. I presume they will be called Nuvo Embellishment chalk mousses, but they're beautiful colours that we're getting. 3 different colours. We've got the coconut sorbet, the strawberry frappe and the mint mojito as well. And I hope you enjoyed this video just showing you loads of different information about the chalk mousses, showing you the new stencils that are launching with them, and showing you lots of different ways that you can use these chalk mousses, whether you're mixing them with your aqua flows, your sparkle sprays, mica mist, anything to change the colour of them, or whether you're using like your foam applicator tools to make shapes with them, whether you're just scraping it on thickly or thinly with a palette knife, or thickly or thinly through a stencil, and just having fun and playing with the chalk mousses. So I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you enjoy the rest of all of the birthday week launches as well. There's lots of exciting things happening this week for Tonic, and loads of lovely products coming out as well. So there'll be plenty more videos from me this week showing you all of those different bits and pieces. So I hope you enjoy them, and all of the links for everything will be below the video in case you're interested in any of this. And I will see you again in the next video. So thank you so much for watching. Bye!